Meet Tej, property investor, entrepreneur, and host of the Tej Talks Podcast. In this episode of The Strategist, we dive into how Tej went from building a portfolio in real estate to acquiring and scaling businesses, including taking a cleaning company from acquisition to a thriving seven-figure operation. We unpack the transition from buying property to buying companies, the systems, processes, and strategic mindset that made it possible, and why the skill set you build in real estate, deal flow, due diligence, operations, can become a launchpad into M&A. Tej breaks down how brand, network, and execution fuel growth, and what it really takes to go from managing assets to running companies and building teams. If you're thinking about diversifying beyond property and stepping into business acquisitions, this conversation is your blueprint.
Yeah, ready to go? Yes, people, welcome back to the Property Strategist Podcast. I'm joined today by a special guest, Tej. How you doing, bro? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. I haven't done a podcast in a while, so hopefully there'll be some fresh insights that I haven't spoken about in a long time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Because I mean, you had one of the biggest podcasts in the UK at one point. So
in the property sector, the most reviews, had a lot of listens. We went past 1 million downloads. And then I just got bored of property, to be fair. And
I hear it. And that's a big part, or a large part of the conversation today. So we're going to chop it up. We're going to deep dive into what you're up to and stuff like that. But before we get into that, could you maybe just, before we get into some of the new stuff, could you maybe summarize who you are and I guess what you've done in the property space in the last couple of years?
Yeah, of course. So in 2019, I started in property. I had a recruitment business beforehand. It was just me, maybe a couple of staff every now and then for like 3 or 4 years, doubling profit, doubling turnover every year. But it was golden handcuffs. I was making money, but I wasn't enjoying it. And so I was kind of in a weird place where I thought, surely I can put a lot of time and effort into something. It can then make me money while I sleep, while I chill, and I don't have to be at my desk. And obviously, I think we all have that thought. It leads to property. And I got into property, listening to podcasts, reading books, of which there was that many at that time. And now, of course, there's so many. Networking. Again, there just doesn't seem to be that much physical networking now as there used to be. But at events, 2 or 3 times a week, just learning. And then got my first property, I think end of 2019, which was a great deal. Bought it for 50k, spent 6k on it. It's worth 80k a few months later. Now it's worth 140, 150. Nice. So, a pretty good deal. Yeah. And then from then I bought 15 properties in my first 9 months.
I remember that, yeah.
I just went crazy. And
What was the reason behind that? What was the reason behind going so crazy in that period of time?
So one, it naturally happened with momentum and kind of things snowballing. So even now, in my business, when we win a client, we tend to then win another one, and there is some sort of momentum effect in business. And secondly, they're buy-to-lets. They're generating 300, 400, 500 quid a month net profit each. You need a lot of them to make an impact financially, and so I think it was just maths. Right, I need lots. Life's short. Let's just crack on. Yeah.
And I like that. And you've always been, I guess that's always been your personality of, obviously you weigh out the risk, you'll kind of weigh everything up, and then when it does make sense, Finnick, and it kind of clicks, you're going to go full throttle. And that's been your sort of, I guess, way that you've operated in business and things like that. And we could probably get into that as well, why that came to be and why you're that way inclined. But yeah, man, I mean, in terms of the property questions, first one, because we'll start into property, don't worry, we are going to transition into some of the new stuff we're doing, because everyone wants to hear anyway, that's the whole point of doing this podcast. But, I mean, can you walk us through, a couple of deals that you do in the property space? And also, how did those deals help you to understand some of the processes that you might use today?
Yeah, so that first deal I just mentioned, that was one of my favorites because it was my first ever deal. I think it was pretty good for a first ever deal. And it also highlights now the effect of capital appreciation, which you don't think about at all. And you talk about it, but now when you see it, you're like, oh, I didn't do anything. It just happened. So that's quite nice. There was another one I did. Actually, this one was in the middle of England, so kind of in Cambridgeshire, in a little village. It was an auction. It was a very unique old property with legal issues, massive flying freehold, access issues, parking issues, just stuff I love.
Yeah.
And this was probably actually my last deal I did in property, I think. I got it for around £140,000, which, was pretty cheap at the time. And I spent, how much did we spend on it? I think we spent around 60k on it. I'm just pulling up the figures now.
Yeah.
The issue with this property was people didn't want to touch it because it has all these legal issues, and people didn't know if you could actually walk to the front door. Like it was that level of like, who knows? I've got the figures. We purchased it for 141.
Yep.
Spent 49 on it, and I thought, we'll sell it for 200. We'll sell it for whatever.
Yeah.
It was valued on a mortgage at £295,000.
Wow.
And I'm all in for 200. And it sold for 265. So that was a 61k profit, which I ain't complaining.
Yeah. So where it does show is that, because I think, obviously, when you're in property game a lot, we've been in it for a while, there are some challenges, obviously, that you see and that we go through as well. But sometimes I feel like property gets almost too bad a rep, If you're looking at doing standard, maybe buy-to-lets, I can understand why you wouldn't be interested. But if you're flipping properties, you're actively finding properties, adding value to them and looking to sell them and actually have like an exit, then, which is what we're kind of about at the moment, then you do get that kind of moment where you do get to realize that capital again, and it's sort of like, actually, it was a good deal. You would have spent probably like a year on that deal, I'm assuming, or like 12 months?
It took just over a year because of the legal issues. When it came to selling, it just took longer than expected. But the actual sort of keys, job done, whatever, 4 months?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
If you can make 61 grand in a year though, and you do one deal a year, you're laughing.
You take that to 2 deals and you're over 100k in a year, which is, it's good net profit, and in terms of return on the actual time it's spent on it as well, in terms of actively having to, not like you're building it yourself. It's not a bad return, to be fair. So yeah.
It's not. So for me, those were 2 deals that definitely stand out. There's another one, fire damage property, where bought it for £135,000 direct to vendor. I've done a few direct to vendors to property traders. Spent 73 grand on it. So it was a large house. It was like absolutely wrecked. And we did it nice. So we're all in for, give or take, 200, 210 investor fees, stamp duty, whatever. Sold it for 250, so 40k profit.
Nice.
Look, I know assets are great to keep, and we want to have this capital appreciation. And at the same time, tenants leave. You got to spend this much on, maintenance.
Honestly,
I'm happy to sell.
Yeah.
For me, it's bricks. I don't care.
Honestly, I think for people that are not always actively buying, I feel like I get the sentiment of like wanting to hold on to it, and we have the whole spiel about like capital appreciation and holding on for 10 years and stuff like that. But for people that are actively in business, you're looking at that cash thinking, I could probably get a better return, flipping it in a different way or using it in different ways and stuff like that. So I'm totally in the same space where it's just sort of like a lot of the deals that we're doing now, I'm happy to sell and like get the capital out and go again. There's pros to that as well. Like being able to see that cash in the bank is nice, basically. So
because look, if you made 50 grand profit on something, you could put that into stocks and shares ISA, and you could get 10 to 20% a year on that, or you sort of leave 50 grand in a buy to let and you're not getting that same return, but you're getting headaches. So I'm like, property's great, but I'm also very much like, it's also shit at the same time. Like,
no, same. I'm in the same boat. So really, really insightful there. And in terms of the systems and some of the stuff that you're doing now, because I know you have a lot of different systems that you use with business. So what are some of the business that have actually come over from the property side over to this side? Or what are some of the lessons that you learned from this side that came across to this side?
I think it's lessons probably more than systems. I mean, look, things like Asana, I used in property for refurbs. I use it now in business for just knowing what the hell's going on because I can't remember everything. Tools like that have been super useful, QuickBooks, things like that. But realistically, the lessons, one is rejection. You know, when we're pitching business now, we get rejected 90% of the time. I'm writing bids and hours and hours and hours into it. I'm getting rejected 90% of the time. You know, when in property you're dealing with builders, you always have to have because builders are pricks. Yeah. You always have to have a lack of trust. Yeah. You always have to think.
They're trying to do something over here. Put one over my eyes.
Yeah, and with in the cleaning industry, with staff, it's kind of the same thing. You kind of have to go in with speak in a certain way, be polite, all that stuff. But in the back of your head, you're thinking, is that correct? Even when a client complains, you still have to question it. And I think evidence seeking and, sounds bad, but guilty before proven innocent, but don't act like that, have been the two biggest lessons that have come from property for sure. I mean, there's, resilience, raising money. I've raised money to buy these businesses, so, but for me, those are the two ones that are a little bit different maybe that I've taken across.
Okay. That's a good shout. And then just in terms of, obviously we know you started off in property. That was the whole way you kind of broke through, I guess, into the industry and people knew you very well. Obviously did a lot of deals. What was that light bulb moment when you did transition into doing the business stuff? I know you're going to speak about the M&A and you can give us some context around it as well, but going into the M&A space and also doing the cleaning business stuff, what was the light bulb moment? What was the transition into that?
Yeah, so I'd built up, a portfolio. It was doing its thing. It was fairly passive. COVID, I think, was the thing by accident because it came in. I completed on a property, actually, I got that one for like £26,000 post auction. Borrowed money from my friend's mother-in-law for that one, and now it's worth like 90, 100, something like that. So crazy deal. But COVID came. Couldn't really do deals, although saying that, there were some great deals in COVID, so we probably all should have bought more. But was just, I don't know, detached or taking a break from it all after just going crazy for 9 to 12 months, buying so many properties, that it just naturally gave me a break. And then I kind of said, okay, let's get these mortgages, let's get them sorted, let's make it, kind of just safe and stable. And then I think I just chilled. I have seasons, where I'm like, let's go. And then I'm like, cool, we'll just maintain.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. And then, in my head, I was always going to start businesses.
Yeah.
And then my friend D Ludlow was like teaching M&A, still does, and buying businesses and selling them and all in that kind of sector.
Yeah.
And we spoke, and then he was the light bulb that just lit up, and I thought I could start a business and invest 100 grand, like in a commercial kitchen, for example.
Yeah.
Or I could buy a business for like 30 grand, get the kitchen with it, get the goodwill, get the brand, get everything with it. And I thought, let's do this. I've done property, I'm bored of it, I'm exhausted from it. We'll come back if we need to.
Yeah.
Let me transition, And I think every couple of years I probably will move, naturally from thing to thing.
Yeah. I definitely think that's just sort of your personality and the way you've kind of always operated. So that makes sense. And I guess how's it been? How's it been so far with the transition? Actually, before that, I was going to ask, with the property deals, would they mainly be RRRs then? Would they buy, refurbish, refinance? I'm assuming.
Yes, I think I did. Of those 15, 13 were BRRs and then 2 were flips. 2 of those 13 left are Airbnbs, but I own them. So profit's nicer, but I also have to deal with all the issues.
Okay, makes sense. And then, how's it been, I guess, with the transition? Like, what has been some of the similarities, the differences of moving across to having what I understand is a cleaning business and another type of business, but you can let me know, I guess.
Yeah. So I bought 2 cleaning businesses, put them both together. I bought a third. Third didn't go very well. Long story short, we're now hitting $1 million turnover in just under about 2 years. So I started at 0, went to 250, went to 500. Now we're at $1 million. Obviously, the bulk of that has come from M&A and like buying businesses.
Yeah.
For me, to answer your question about the transition, what kind of things were transferable. You know what? Just it's kind of like everything, like business acumen, like knowing when a deal is a deal, knowing that figures add up or don't add up, understanding how a business is run. Even though my property stuff was more of a portfolio than a business, I still took from it like how something should operate, and also from seeing other people's businesses. So I think the transition for me, because I had a recruitment business before, it kind of felt natural going back to like a service-based or product-based business. Property probably felt unnatural, if anything, because it wasn't. I didn't run it like a business. It was a portfolio. So yeah, the transition was fairly smooth. And this business
you had D Blood as well to kind of guide you as well, I guess. So it wasn't like you was in no man's land. You kind of knew about every part of the process. I'm assuming before you really even took on any business. So
yeah. And look, no one can train you for the real shit of running a business. You can get educated and you get mentorship on it, of course. But I learned that beforehand from recruitment, from business, and then from being in the cleaning business and trying to network. It's not the most open network, but like networking with people who have businesses, even just following them on LinkedIn or podcast, just to be like, okay, is this normal? Is that not normal? And making mistakes, like I've got emails that I shouldn't have sent. I've got, cleaners I shouldn't have hired. I mean, right now, I'm firing one right now because he sent me a WhatsApp message out of nowhere just saying this is illegal. I said, what's illegal? This guy didn't turn up for work today or on Sunday, so we've replaced him straight away. Now it's illegal. These are the issues I deal with, like week in, week out. But like, look, I'm laughing about it because he's a prick.
It's part of it. It's part of it.
It's part of it. But 99% of the staff are incredible. And so, I think for me, it's just the school of hard knocks. That's what it is. School of real life.
Nah, it's been really good to see you transition. I think it's so interesting because when I'm speaking to a lot of people who are in the property space, obviously a lot of people started at similar times and doing similar things, and now you're seeing kind of people, do different things that are all still within business but are different. I was speaking to Bricks with Tips, who's now in Dubai, and he's focused on selling sort of units out there, and there's other people that have gone into business as well. Some people are focused on growing businesses, but I know acquiring businesses in different spaces is something as well that is kind of is growing in popularity. Is there a reason why you went specifically with the cleaning? Was there something that I know you did recruitment before? Is there anything that stuck out to you then? Do you have a background? You have a background in that?
No. So I was looking for MOT car garages first because I love cars. And I will have something in that in the future, but I just found them dodgy. VAT, tax frauding, avoiding, cash. It was just a shit show, and they all wanted way too much money because, like, their greasy, shitty garage.
Exactly.
So I was like, you know what, this ain't happening. I then just broadened the search. Was like, you know what, just look at a few different things, and then this business came up for sale. Did the numbers and was like, you know what, I don't care about the industry. The numbers are sick. Like, I'm buying this. And then actually, after I bought it, got into it, got the second one. I then realized cleaning is a great industry because it's a boring business. So it's not sexy, it's not cool, it's not tech startup, but everyone needs it. Everyone notices it when it's not done. The margins are good compared to like a food business in the UK, which is just being strangled by the government. It's so difficult. And the margins are very clear. You have revenue, you have your chemical costs, staff costs, recruitment costs, blah, 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 profit. Whereas other businesses have a million items here in the middle, and it's just, I just wanted boring, like in property, buy to lets, vanilla, boring, simple, foundational. And that's what I found in the industry. And like, I was doing a site audit today and a quote for like high level cleaning. It's like a 50-60 grand quote for one job in one factory.
Wow, okay.
The Hoovers we have to use cost like 7 grand. They're made of carbon fiber. It's crazy, like some of the kit you get. And is it interesting? The people are interesting, and I think maintaining standards and just running a business is very interesting. So that's where I'm more interested in than cleaning exactly. But the more and more I do it, you do learn different things, and you do kind of have good conversations and meetings.
No, I get that, and I get the idea of if you're gonna make that transition, almost playing it a little bit safe in terms of, it's like when you talk to people and they want to get into property, the first thing I say to them is like, what's your risk appetite? You know, based on your risk appetite, maybe go for a buy to let, something that you don't need to do any works to first. Once you kind of build that up and you're ready to take a bit more risk with your second one or third one, then you can kind of go like that. And I guess it's the same principle with that. There are quite a few questions I have. I think one of the biggest questions was like, I guess, what has been some of the challenges with running the cleaning business, and also how involved are you in the day-to-day of it, like the actual running of it?
Yeah, so when I started, I was quite involved. Right now, I probably do the financial side, some client liaison, a couple of audits here and there, recruitment, just because I've done it for so many years. I've seen thousands of CVs. I just know quickly, and for me, it's like it's the lifeblood of the business. So I'm going to do it now. But I've got a sort of ops manager, sales manager who I throw anything and everything at, and he makes it happen. And I've got a sales guy. So we're pretty lean. We don't really need any more with the kind of cleaning that we do. So how involved am I? There are some days where there isn't too much to do. There are some days where it's back to like crazy. Like now, after firing this cleaner, we've got to find a replacement before tomorrow night. And then I've got another few. What happens is nothing happens for a while, and then now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different jobs that need filling in the next few weeks, and so I'm back to back. But then the last few weeks, it was more active work, like sales stuff. In terms of the biggest challenges, people in every business, same answer, same answer.
True.
It's so hard to find
internally or externally.
Internally, so staff, like clients generally are fine. We had one dickhead. We signed like last week and cancelled now because our cleaner apparently was drinking the staff's office hot chocolate. That's his accusation.
Okay.
And so we do medicals, you know, on like everyone who joins us, right? Like a questionnaire. She's allergic to chocolate. So how did that happen? So sometimes you get these proper jobs worth Karens where it's like, you've signed a contract, so you're about to be in a lot of trouble. Is that a challenge? I suppose so. But really the challenge is like finding good cleaning options, finding good staff, managing them and keeping them. Because in order to pay them more, our price has to go up.
Yeah.
We can't always do that. And so it really is a balance. I think the client side I find quite straightforward. Some clients are a bit bitchy. They like to make a little, you know, the way they word their email. Oh, I'm so shocked at the cleaning. And they show me one cobweb. And I'm like,
yeah, come on, guys.
I get it, but like, let's not be pedantic. So yeah, staff. Other than that, winning new business is pretty tricky. It takes time. There's often long notice periods with like our competitors. And so, you know, winning new business is a challenge. But yeah, people, always.
No, it makes sense. And it's what I would have assumed when it comes to a cleaning business, that there would be some staff members that are amazing, and there could be some staff members, like any business, that are just not as good. What about with regards to the clients then? Is it a thing of like, I know with cleaning you have the commercial side, you have the residential side. Does your business kind of focus on both, and are you looking to, like, what's your game plan? Is it to like really grow it, or is it just to like maintain it and grow it slowly over time? Or just because to get your insight on just like, you know, what you
so we do 98% commercial. We have done end of tenancy, we still will. We've done house cleaning, we will. There are good margins on that, but it has to be worth our time. It has to be substantial. Otherwise, if we're turning over £1 million, we're not going to clean Auntie Doris's house for £40 a week. Exactly. Like even if the margin is 40%, it's just too small. 40% of something is not as good as 40% of something even bigger.
Of course.
So yeah, mainly commercial, and we're going to stick that way. You know, I think we will look at like commercial, domestic, whatever that even means, which is like kind of welfare cleans, tenancy cleans, things which are high margin and have a decent sort of profit in them. We'll start to look at more. As we're sort of hitting the 1 million mark, we're now looking to niche into things, whether it's industrial, biohazard, pigeon poo removal, gutter clip, whatever it is. We're now sort of considering what to do in those niches. So yeah, and I would say game plan, it's not one to sell anytime soon. It's definitely a 5-year plus cash flow, you know, grow slowly. I mean, we haven't grown slowly. We've doubled and doubled.
Yeah.
But like, it's more of a, now we're at this level,
Yeah.
we can sort of stabilize and we can keep growing,
Yeah.
maybe without the pressure we had earlier to grow,
Yeah.
because we have the management structure in place. So yeah, long-term cash flow.
Makes sense. And then what was asked as well was regarding some of the I guess some of the contacts that you've had within this property space. Have they helped? Have you been able to leverage those to get more business, or have you used or leveraged anything from the property side to help with the new side, basically?
You know what? I thought there might be some overlap, but no, there hasn't been any really. We could, if we did Airbnb cleaning, which is just, we just have to charge so much. It's not even worth it.
Yeah.
Like, people just need to get their own Airbnb cleaners. If we did that, which I have a mentee, he actually based in Qatar in the Middle East, and he has a business here. He's turning over 3 or 4 grand a month already in 3 months. He is doing Airbnb cleans, and he makes good money from them and good profit from them. I said, cool. That works with his structure. If I was doing that, it would help, because I'd have loads of people I could like clean for, but it hasn't helped. I think, my investors from the property side have invested,
Okay.
but other than that, no.
Yeah. And I think that's the key part, I guess. Well, it'd be good to you to let me know what are some of the lessons you learned in terms of the transition, and I guess what would you advise somebody that wants to make that transition to do? If someone's in property or has been in property, what are some of the things they need to consider? Or is it just a thing of starting from scratch, like in terms of approaching that process?
I think your people skills are the biggest thing you need to take across and transition and learn and read about, because all the other bits, running a business, doing the numbers, yeah, fine, you can take that from property and over, but it will be different. But what won't be different is how you deal with people. I think often in property, we don't have our own staff. So we're only dealing with external brokers, builders, whatever. And so actually managing staff is a whole nother thing. Like, just because we're an entrepreneur does not mean we're a good manager.
Yeah.
We might be, but it doesn't mean that. And so I think learning to deal with people, learning to manage your reactions to people, and that is the biggest thing that you can take across. That alone will grow your business, because you'll hire staff, you'll keep staff, they'll then bring more staff to you, clients will like you, they'll want to work with you, and you do your sales calls, they'll like you, they'll want to work with you. So that one skill for me is just worth its weight in gold above everything else.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think you mentioned recruitment, you've mentioned people skills, you've mentioned obviously raising finance and stuff. I guess what is the key for you when it comes to like scaling the business? Obviously, you mentioned before you didn't necessarily you would have grown the cleaning business, but you also thought, let me acquire another one. What's the key skill, I guess, or skills you may need to scale a business in your opinion? What do you think?
So one is definitely financial control, and if you don't have it, find someone. If they're 1 day a week, if they're a VA, find someone where you can understand the ins and outs, literally, of your business. Use a good bank account like Monzo, where it's so analytical and colorful that you can really kind of work out what's going in, where's it going, how's it going. Because there's plenty of businesses who have lots of high turnover in terms of revenue income. They have high profit levels, but they go bust. A profitable business can still go bust because they're growing so much, they're using the profit, there's no money left for anything. And so you really have to be tight. And I've been guilty in the past of not being tight on things, on margins, on whatever.
Yeah.
Learning to be tight on finances of, what are you charging clients? Are you making 10% on that or 20? Because that's a big difference. If they're 10, you should get rid of them. If they're 20, okay, we'll consider that.
Yeah.
Secondly, again, goes back to people, managing people, because we have a new client. We took about 3 hours from where I live. I was speaking to my ops guy today, and he just said, when do you want me to schedule it in? I was like, what? He's like, the next audit. Because he's like, I don't think you're going to drive 3 hours, are you? I was like, and so like having that level of, I suppose, relationship, but also having the people who will just say, when do you want it done?
Yeah.
I don't know what he was talking about, but he's ready to do that. Is so important. I think the key to scaling is also knowing why you're scaling, where you're going, and how you're going to get there.
Okay.
It's better than just flailing through it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll stop when we stop and we'll win that. We'll do that niche, we'll do that, we'll buy a van, we'll do one window. No, focus. Like, stay in your lane until you reach a certain target. Like, focus on something. Don't just chase the shiny penny.
Yeah.
And I think discipline, like with everything. If you're going to scale, you're going to scale quickly. You need to be, whether it's banging the phones, whether it's doing face-to-face visits, whether it's audits, whether it's finance, you need to be doing it. There's no emotion. You just do it. So that discipline is massive.
Massive. No, 100%. I was shocked actually, because I think once you came over from the property side, and I could see that you're doing the cleaning business side. I actually thought you're gonna double down on the brand, and it seems like, from my perspective anyway, maybe I'm not with the socials as much, but you've kind of like been more recluse and actually more just working on the business and stuff like that. What was the strategic thinking around that? Because obviously in my head it's like, well, you've got the cleaning business. I'm sorry, you've got the property business, you've got the brand, and this would be like an easy transition. I want to see some more yellow shirts and some more cleans going on, and it didn't really happen. So what was the sort of thinking of that, and how come, or is that something that might come as well? It'd be good to just know.
You're 100% right. Like, well noticed. I think for me, it was, I just thought, you know what, I made a bunch of money from social media. That's nice. I just sort of, maybe it was the algorithm changes. Maybe it was the changes in what people want, what's promoted. I just was like, the content's not landing the same. It's not got the same engagement. We're not growing the same. I can't be fucked. I don't need this right now. Like, I don't need it at all for my cleaning business. Like, I don't need it at all. So I said, you know what? Let me just focus 100% on this. Okay, 99, because I still post, right? So like, but I just was like, maybe I was just a bit sort of like almost pissed off with it. Just like, you know what? Cool. I've done what I needed to do. It worked. Now it's not working. I'm not here to evolve right now. I've got better things to do. Let me just over there.
Yeah.
And so now that we're hitting this point where it can be, where the business is a lot more stable, we're going to have we have management in place. Soon, I'll be back on like the brand in a kind of different level.
Makes sense.
With new offerings, new things like that. So it was kind of a personal decision more than anything, and just a decision to focus on the thing that really mattered at the time.
Makes sense. And even us as well, as people that do podcasts and content, I guess sometimes it's nice to just be away from the camera and just focus on work and get that done, and not have to worry about having to post and all that kind of stuff. And I think one thing I'm reminded of, and I think you should have the same thing, is that you can literally disappear whenever you want and come back whenever you want. Like, that's the power of having it, right? Like, the audience don't necessarily disappear. They may obviously go and consume other content, but you know, your audience grow, new people come and stuff like that. So at any point you want to pick it up, it is there to pick up basically. So which is really good. I guess I want to tap into, in terms of going towards the end of this interview, just more talking about, I guess, what's the next steps. I know you've acquired the cleaning, you did two cleaning businesses, and you said you might want to diversify, go to more niches and stuff like that. Is there anything else you're looking at, or within those niches, you know, what else are you thinking in terms of growing the business?
So yeah, I'm looking at, like, I'm at a point where I can leave it at a sort of mil turnover. I'm still paying off the second business I bought. It takes like time. So once that's done, and the investor for the first business paid off, should be hopefully within the next 6 months, hopefully less. Then I can actually really take the profits from it properly. And so all this growing has been great, but a lot of the profits just going straight back in or straight back out, which is fine. When you grow like this, and when you grow through M&A, you have to accept that on this size of business, like, it's going to happen. So as we're kind of reaching that point of paying back and kind of being totally, debt free and just profit coming in, I'm not someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to grow to 10 bill, do this, do that, private jet, whatever. Cool. Look, like, I'm like, does this provide the lifestyle I need for me and my family? End of. And a little bit more for fun, you know what I mean? And if it hits, yeah, of course. And if it hits that, and like, I'm cool with the structure and the level of work, I might just stay here. I might just say, you know what? Here's KPIs. Like, we're gonna grow, but really, we're just gonna chill. We're gonna just, and that's not a bad place to be, because it allows you to then, me in my seasons, to have an off season, but the money's still coming in because everything's paid off. And my team are managing it and running it. And I think to have, $1 million of revenue for 3 employees, that's a massive revenue per head.
100%.
And to be fair, I could do it without them. Like in the sense that if I wanted to work, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
I could do that. So for me, it's kind of, we're a bit of a period of like inflection and thinking about what am I going to do next. What's likely to happen is I'll pick a niche, we'll make some inroads, we'll get it up to 1.5 mil, kind of with that niche and with our foundation.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably chill. That's what I can predict happening, knowing myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I do still want to have a car automotive business in the future of some kind. There are other industries I'm definitely looking at, but the cleaning business needs to just be like an absolute foundation before I even think about anything else. Like I need to just keep focusing.
Makes sense. And I think I really like the way you touched on the idea of like not having to do more than necessary. I think at some point in business, I think you have so many different types of entrepreneurs, but you got some guys that are just like, I'm gonna keep going and keep hitting up. But this stuff is also headaches, it's also stress, it's also all of that comes with it. So it's almost like what's the end goal here? What's the what's the point at which you just go, actually, this is okay, and we can steadily grow, but this is okay. And even at some point, let's sell, let's sell and let's exit, and then let's start again at a different level. Maybe at that point, you don't need to go again because you've now put yourself in a position where you don't need to. So I definitely like the way you're thinking. I admire it as well, because I think it sounds like somebody that's matured in, not just as a business person, but as a person. And it gets to a certain age, it's sort of like it goes beyond just trying to have as many zeros in the bank account than you could have otherwise. So no, definitely.
I agree. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, like you said, they don't know when to stop. They'll be 18 and they'll be like, oh man, I could have done that deal, I could have done this. And it's like, but when do you stop and enjoy your money?
100%.
And so I heard this story, it's so funny. So I was speaking to this property developer, and he goes, he's got a mate, he's like 80 years old, he's minted, like I mean, like Pablo Escobar, just cash sitting there, old English geezer. But he's so fucking cheap. Like, he's
I hate that, man. I hate that.
But he's this age, he can like be hobbling along, and he had a fence broken on one of his properties, and a new fence panel is what, 50 quid max. That guy has 50 quid just hanging out, like he's got money. So what he did was he took a fence panel he had in one of his properties chilling, which was free, went and fixed it in himself. Now, what was ingrained in that property, in that fence panel? Japanese knotweed. And what happened? It then took over the whole garden of the next property, and he had to spend $3,000 on remediation, all to save 40 quid.
Imagine. So that's the other side of it that people don't see. That's the lesson.
I think it's a toxic treadmill of, well, they have this. If you really ask people what they want the freedom to go wherever, whenever. Yeah. Even then, they don't even want to go that far or that often. Yeah. They want to be able to pay bills, groceries, and like that's about it. And that's $10,000 a month, if that, for like.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. But I think you only need to. You almost need to. Everyone has their journey, and sometimes I feel like you need to go through to get to that realization, because
100%.
Sometimes as well, like, even though I've had times I thought, how much do you actually need to like be completely free? And it's like, actually, it's not as much as you think it would be.
Nope.
When you actually start doing the maths, which means you don't actually have to go as far as you have to go, and do as much as you need to do to get there. And maybe there's a bit of patience, maybe in the way you arrive at that spot, but you can. It is achievable. So 100%. Talking about that though, what about traveling as well? Have you traveled much? Have you been to much places? Are you looking to do any business abroad as well? Like, what's your thinking at the moment?
Yeah, I love traveling. Love traveling. I love Italy in particular. Recently, like, loving Greece. Just anything to get out of this shithole. Is the answer. I think to do business abroad, I would again, now we're at this point where it's going to be stable and I can sort of think about what we want to do. It's definitely something I looked at. Dubai is the obvious one for cleaning companies because the management of staff there is very different and a lot stricter, and therefore a lot easier. I haven't fully explored it. I just sort of dipped my toe in and kind of understood it. I'm looking at Spain because I can speak almost fluent Spanish, almost. I'm a bit off, but enough that I could like do business there,
Yeah.
and it's close enough. And I thought of that. It would be interesting to do that because it would allow different tax rules. It would allow business trips to nice places. But also, I think it's a different challenge.
Yeah.
Like, some of these places are really old school or really futuristic, and so
Yeah.
it kind of just allows you to then just do something different, somewhere different, and it's just fun. It just adds another layer of interest to what you're doing. So, also property wise, I would definitely buy a property abroad, as an investment over this country.
Yeah.
Where, when, how, not even thought about it, but in the future, it's definitely something I would look.
Okay, no, it makes sense, 100%, 100%. I think that international place and that kind of move, it does start to make sense, especially when you're looking at from a business perspective, some of the constraints we have here. Taxes have gone up, I think, in the last year or so.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Minimum wages have gone up as well, which obviously will affect some of the staff members in the pay as well. And then obviously inflation.
National insurance, employers, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I mean, what I think, me personally, I think there's a lot of pros are still starting here. I think again, we kind of give UK a bad rep, but when you actually look at how easy it is to start a business, just the landscape of which everything works, like, we're not America in terms of like as hefty with entrepreneurship, but we are good enough that we actually, especially within the European space, we're probably leading that space, just in terms of go-get attitude and things like that. So I do think we are in a good space, but I think once you start to understand the mechanics, the foundations of business and how it all works, I think transitioning into a UAE or Spain or Portugal, all these places that we travel to, and a lot of us in Europe travel to quite often, it starts to make more sense. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that as well. And I guess from your perspective as well, is it a thing of, from the brand point of view, you'd be looking to show more of that stuff as well, or show more of the business stuff at some point, or?
Yeah, I think, you know what, it's hard in the clean industry to show things. I know you might think, well, show something dirty, show something clean. Yes, that works really well in domestic cleaning, but what we do, it's very difficult to create content like I can for property and like you can with other businesses, especially because you're on client sites. There's also a permission thing. There's also like data protection. So I definitely will, and I've sort of restarted my podcast, although I haven't been as committed, with Cleaning Chronicles, which is me talking about every week, like what's happening in the cleaning business. Just 10-15 minutes, like an update, so people can follow along my journey.
Yeah.
I definitely will do more of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the content is going to be somewhat limited.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm soon be planning, like, okay, well, how can I do this then?
Yeah.
And still make it engaging.
Yeah. And I think, I don't even know where I saw it, but I kind of saw this idea of as you grow up the ladder and you kind of get more, you're more integral to a business and you got more stuff that you have to probably be a bit more sensitive about, the more you do kind of tend to go away. But I mean, the good thing about podcasts, I guess it's a platform which isn't necessarily have to be, you putting yourself out there and you showing yourself in front of building more of a conversation, more of a, start something like this, so you can still kind of do it without it affecting too much of what you got going on. But as we end, I guess the biggest thing I want to get you to do is just, what's the biggest, I guess, lesson from both the property side and the cleaning business side that you've taken, and then we'll probably just wrap up and get your socials, and then again, just thank you for the interview. So yeah.
Biggest lesson from property is let's go with control. Obviously, everyone wants the business where they don't run it and they've got a manager and they're just on a yacht and chilling. Okay, cool. Realistically, especially when you're starting out, and especially in property, especially with refurbs, you need to have control. You need to almost be a control freak.
Yeah.
When the material's coming, where are they coming from? Why isn't the builder on site? What are they doing? What is my solicitor doing? It's been 4 days since like, you need to be so uptight and in control to make the process go. Because bridging is, or investor finance, for example, is going to cost you, I don't know, a couple of grand a month if you're doing sort of bigger deals. One day is costing me 50, 60 quid potentially.
Yeah.
Listen, Mr. Solicitor, Miss Solicitor. No. I'm not waiting for this bullshit. Like, just get a move on.
Yeah.
And so for me, having control, but understanding the process and what you can and can't control, which is you can control most of it, was vital in like that. And actually, in the cleaning business, control also is super important, but it's people. Like it is people. Like how are you dealing with people day in, day out? I struggle with this. I struggle with empathy. When someone says, "Oh, my dog's sick. I need to take a day off." In my head, I think, "Do I give a fuck about your dog?" like, do I give a fuck? But what does my email say? "I'm so sorry to hear that. Get well." Like I struggle. I do. I struggle with it. But I have staff. I have supervisors. I have who are good at it. And so I put them. I just shove them in front because even they know. They're like, "Tej, do you want me to speak to this person?" I'm like,
"Yeah, you might lose it."
If you can, because they know if like, and that's also controlling people because I know that's not my skill. When it comes to client liaison or working out certain finances or like strategy, that's me all day long. You're not touching that. So, but that comes from the control and lack of control in certain areas, but also the people. So for me, people in control, just top.
100%. I was gonna say that would be the last question, but there's actually one question that did come up to mind.
Hit me.
Just regarding like just the structuring, I think one of the biggest things that I find quite interesting about the property space, and obviously for someone that's new to this, maybe it is quite a bit of a learning curve in terms of understanding different terms, bridging, development finance, etc. In terms of how property works, in terms of how you finance and structure deals versus the way you structure some of your deals now, what are some of the similarities and differences? Just to, you don't have to go into deep, but just some things that I guess will make the audience understand the similar. 'Cause I think they will be surprised at how similar they can possibly be sometimes.
So, exchange with delayed completion from property is what we pretty much always do on a business, except we don't delay completion. We delay the payment. We defer the payment. So we pay a percentage up front and the rest is paid over years or months, whatever. In property, if you do an exchange with delayed completion, which is so hard to get and it's so rare, but when you do it, oh my God, the deal just gets so much better in terms of the ROI. It's an amazing strategy, but we do it standard kind of in M&A. When you're looking at the profitability of a deal, the return on your investment, the money left in. Same with a business. I'm like, if it cost me 50, I got 25 from an investor, the money, how much, what's my ROI year 1, year 2, year 3, how can I improve it? How can I, it's very similar. I think it's different in how you analyze it. We haven't got comparables. We haven't got any like data. We have a multiple, but we have to go through accounts, go through structure, go through all that stuff to come up with this number. With property, right, what's the street worth? That's what it's worth. Cool. It never is easy as that. But, so those are probably the biggest similarities. With a business, you're usually always direct to vendor. With properties, you're usually never direct to vendor. So, different conversations, and you can really lead and you can be confident and you can be the controlling force in the conversation in business. Whereas in property, not really.
That's true. I mean, with M&A though, I guess if you're going through a broker, then they would act almost like as an agent, right? Or unless you're doing like...
I just ignore them. I literally say to the seller, I say, look, I'm not dealing with the broker, I'm dealing with you. You can pay them a fee and we can go official through them. I'm talking to you. And like yesterday we had a conversation. She wouldn't give me her price that she wants. This happens 99% of the time. But then 9% of the time they give it. She didn't. I said, look, I'm not interested until you're going to give me a price. I'm not talking to the broker. I'm not dealing with them. In a few months when it doesn't sell, come back to me and tell me your price. But we'll leave it here. I'll happen. I'm not dealing with the brokers. They're trash. They're trash.
No, facts. But yeah, bro, it's been really good to catch up, man. I think this episode has been overdue. It's something, again, there's some people in the industry that I like to follow their stories. I like to follow your story. I know in maybe a couple of months, a couple of years, I'm going to be like, look, let's catch up again, see where you're at, see what you're doing. But yeah, keep up the great work. Obviously, hitting £1 million in terms of revenue, that's a massive achievement, bro. So don't, sleep on it or try and downplay it. That's massive. I mean, from when you started till now, it's crazy progress. Again, looking forward to what you're doing. I'm assuming, have you got family man? Are you family man now, or Are you still single? What's the situation, bro?
I've been married long enough.
Oh, okay. First.
Also, on that point,
Yeah.
something that we haven't touched on and that
Yeah.
everyone needs to consider, it's not just like their network. It's not like who you hanging out with. It's who is your partner for life. Because if you don't have the right partner, your business is not going to be anywhere near the capability or the like that it can be. Like, so people kind of don't necessarily touch on this, but like it is so important. Someone who understands and supports and allows you to build what you're building, like, do not underestimate the power of that
Yeah.
part of your network, because that's everything.
What would you say, I guess, with the missus is that key 2 or 3 things that she does for you that allows you to go ahead and do your thing? Because I can't lie, you're a bit of a crazy one as well. You're loose cannon, bro. So, so how does she allow you to still be yourself, but still, I guess, contain you enough, you know?
I think, and she's probably listening now, so I've got to make sure I have the right answer.
Yeah.
I think, one definitely is like containing. So whether it's like keeping you humble, whether it's like, is that idea a bit mad, or like, how does that work? Like, explain that to me, and then she can look at it from like a totally different view that I might not have thought of. Because like you said, I'm just like, oh, all this shit. Secondly, I think just being the right kind of support. So whether that's asking how's business or not asking, because I'm like, you know what, it's 5, I'm done, I'm out the office, like we're chilling. Like that is a big thing, is like reading and understanding. And I think the third one is like, it's almost being a foundation that like when business goes wrong, when things go wrong, when we didn't win that client, spent 6 months trying to win it, I know I have this amazing woman there. Like, and obviously you have to work on that relationship, not just there.
Yeah.
But I know that like this thing is stable and solid and brings so much joy that winning a new client could never, ever. So I think those are probably the 3 most important things that I have, and I would say people maybe would look out for.
No, makes sense, bro. Makes sense. Have you got any little ones as well?
No, not yet.
Get ready for those. Man. That sounds like you're ready for those, bro. Not yet. Yeah, that's
I
a
need,
hot business.
I need to get a bigger car then, don't I?
Yeah,
So
that's a bigger car, bigger business. So yeah, but bro, I like that end bit as well. So really do appreciate it. Really appreciate you.
of course,
Yeah,
man,
just
appreciate
all the success, more success, and more happiness with life and business. So yeah, man. All right, then,
Appreciate
guys. No, I appreciate you, bro. All right, guys, that's the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and all the other socials, and follow Tej as well on his socials. You talk about your socials? They probably know already.
Tej Talk, type it in, you'll find me. Tej Talks.
You find them everywhere. So yes, guys, stay blessed, stay invested. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and peace. Fitness.